Hello and welcome to ASMR Scratch Art. Please like, subscribe, share and comment to help the channel grow, and I hope you enjoy this video. And I'm like 2 videos in and I'm realising I didn't put the light on today. So the light isn't too poor. After this video I will get up and I will turn the main kitchen light on. It seemed to run a little bit darker while I was filming. I was relying on the natural light. So yes, I'm so disgusted by that video. The search rate. Because as I was discussing before, my kids have autism. I think there is that aspect of ADHD, because that depends on where you come from. Some people now think it's the same condition. It just depends how you manifest, and I know I have the problems. And like the worst thing for me about ADHD, I think it's the emotional dysregulation. I'm intensely dysregulated. And I think I've kept it under wraps, like I'm not disgusted with everybody, but I'm sure I to mention it to my partner. He'd be like, oh yeah, I noticed. I'm like, oh damn. I've literally said I haven't said anything last week, or like maybe 3 weeks. I didn't have to. He's got his own issues. He like, I don't know. He went to talk to kids to his mum for discussing sleepover. And I had a fantastic time, I'm not gonna lie. They left at about 10 o'clock on Saturday. I went down to the local supermarket to make sure I had enough stuff in for myself, for the cat. Even if I didn't have to look at it, I still wouldn't know there's too many people squished in this little house. It's just not been out. Might be able to finish it in this video. Too many people in that little house. She has 3 bedrooms. The grandma has 3 bedrooms. The third bedroom is basically for storage. So you're talking about like, because there are other anti-games, so you're talking 4 adults and 4 kids in, a 2-bedroom house essentially. Don't count the third bedroom. It was a box room. It's a box room the best of times. So, and also he had to go see his dad. His dad's not in a good way. He's in a respite. More issues than I would ever discuss. That's his private business, but there's a lot going on there. So he gets the poor kids there. The kids are like obviously unregulated because they're so excited to see their cousins. And then they get there and he's basically driven off 2 hours up the road. And they don't get back to his mum's late o'clock. And by this time the kids are probably still bouncing off the walls. Yesterday they all went out for a day trip, and my mum actually picked them up from this stately home thing that they were doing. And after the hype train, after the excitement, comes the climb down. So my aunt, not so much with my youngest, but my aunt was like despair, basically, total despair, because it was over, everybody was going home, that was the end. So I let them have McDonald's. I absolutely hate McDonald's. I hate junk food. I used to love it, but now I don't. So they let them have McDonald's to cheer them up. I mean, she has a lot more emotional intelligence, I would say, than I had at that age. Having a diagnosis can help in the sense that you understand yourself a bit. And we were sort of talking about it last night. She said how sad and disappointed she was that it was over. But then at the same time, she's saying, oh, maybe I just got too hyped up. And I was like, yeah, maybe a little bit, like, maybe next time you can have medium hype instead of, full on hype. And then you might not feel as sad when they go. It's totally natural. I used to feel the same way. Like, I'm going to stay with my cousins a lot less than she does. But I used to go stay with my cousins and I didn't want to go home. I wanted to live with them because it was so great. That's the kind of, I didn't know if that's a good talking point, is to say, well, not just that it's special because it doesn't last, but that, your cousins, they have their ordinary lives, right? If you were with them every day, see that, they have to get up and go to school in the morning, they have to do their homework, if you were there every day, you would see that their lives are no better than yours. Their eldest cousins at secondary school, because they live in a village, she has to get up and get a bus to school every day. She gets a bus to somewhere else. You would just find that things are special because that X does something like that, especially because it doesn't last. You would see, as I say, you would see that their lives were not that different from yours, almost the same. But I mean, I had a fantastic time. I gotta say, I got back from the shop and I could just please myself. I had housework to do, but even doing housework without any drama, it's different. I'm just pottering about the place. I'm filming. Doing that. 2 minutes later. I did my usual gaming stuff because I'm a 24/7 Nikki First girl. And I got up a lot of like YouTube podcasts that I would subscribe to. And I just have to pass a power washer simulator at night. I don't like sleeping on my own that much. I don't like being that. It doesn't feel very safe. But anyway, so the nicest thing I think of all is waking up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning and there's just nobody else there. I let the cat out. Actually, I didn't. She didn't want to go out about 7. So I was badly tired to her. I thought she was still squashed up against me. And I'm like, gee, thanks. But yeah, anyway, so I still get up at 6. I'm just a little bit habitual and get up. And it's really nice this nobody around. I don't have to wake it up to some 7 o'clock around. And I was done. I went back to bed. I went back to bed with a book to read, slapped a face mask on, and opened the blinds to let the early morning sun in. And that was the sweet spot right there. That was the spot where I thought, yeah, this is really good. I was dressed by 8 o'clock. I went and I got some from the shop. My foot wasn't very good. I was intending to go on a much longer walk, but my foot was pretty bad. And I thought I'd just walk. And again, I was just catching up on some gaming and I was catching up on some podcasts. But at the same time, when they came back, I was prepared for it. I knew they were coming home. I knew my eldest wasn't upset. I knew my youngest would be bouncing off the walls because she's never not bouncing off the walls. And yet, I was still really, really dysregulated. And I'm sat there and I'm just trying to keep a lid on it all the time. Because I was not. It felt odd to be alone for so long. Yeah, at best, really, is when I need balance, I need company, as much as I need to be alone. But yeah, I was in a lot of ways ready for them to come back, but I still felt really dysregulated. I still felt like I didn't want anybody there, they came back. And my partner would have to clear out his dad's old house because his dad's split up with his partner, amongst other things. And so he comes back and he's carrying all his stuff that he's had to take out. And then my first thought was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all this stuff that's going on? And I started to spiral off into like catastrophizing about, oh my gosh, we've got all this stuff, what are we going to do? I don't want this. And then he's like, oh well, we're going to sell it and we're going to split the money. I'm like, hang on a sec, your sister's rich, like she is. His sister's rich, her wife's from a rich family, they both got really good jobs. And I'm like, hang on a sec, why are we sharing the money with her? She's already taken back some of the stuff to sell herself. But anyway, I started spiraling off. The kids are not fantastically well. As they get regulated. There's like about 3 bags, one for each person, full full of laundry. The day before, my youngest wanted to take pretty much everything in the kitchen sink because that's the way she is. And then would be essentially horse trading right up to the Uber was on its way. She couldn't take, she wanted to take like a doll, like a house full of her toys. And he's like, we can't take it, it's just for one night. And he'd already taken about 4 of her plushies. And I keep want to accommodate the kids, you want to make it good for them, you want to meet them halfway, and then it just gets to the point where it's absurd. And this was like the tipping point. So she did leave the house behind in the end. But yeah, it was rather than just be eased back into it. And then he left straight away to go get them. So he basically walked through the door from like Microsoft or whatever it says. He's like, oh, so you just walked through the door, dumped a bunch of stuff, dumped the kids, and now you're going again. Fantastic. So I was really, really happy to keep it in, and I more or less did it. And then there was a point where I think my youngest one wanted something. And I was trying to, she was leaning on like physically leaning. And I worry about how stuff like that is irrational falling over now. She's putting her full weight, trying to tell me something that she wants, and I'm trying to tell her yes, but also stop leaning on me. And I've just, it went from like, I don't like this to I'm going to burst into tears if this doesn't stop right now. And I could hear it in my voice. And that was the tipping point. I could just explode. And I used to think when I was doing that it was because I was writing. It was just because that happened. They came back after I'd had like a heavy writing session and I finished in chapter 1. I nearly exploded. About 5 minutes after they got me drunk, I had to go to sleep in the garden. And I had to like regulate it was a classic cold water and 2 paracetamol, but anyway. So I pulled it back around my discombobulated. It took me a long time to settle down. And say this happened at 1:30. I was still like thinking about it like 5 hours later or something. The after effects are still there. Because one thing I've noticed as well as I've gotten older is that things don't pass over me the way that they used to. You know, I was probably a lot like my kids when I was their age. You know, I would be dysregulated. You know, I could totally lose my loving mind and hysterics. But equally, once the storm had passed, I would be back to very cool as a cucumber about 5 minutes later. Now, I literally think if I'm going to lose my mind, I'm going to have to do it like 7 in the morning, so I've got all day to recover. And I'm just not joking. I find that I just don't bounce back like I used to. Anyway, so I woke up, so that was like not great. And I've been awake since about 5 this morning. Just daydreaming. Daydreaming is very nice daydreaming. Sat there, negging, and not so late there, negging on myself from the get-go. And I got up, and then I just started to feel really anxious and unsettled from the moment I got up. And I think it was because it wasn't Sunday morning anymore. And I didn't, I knew you had to go wake the kids off, and you had to do this, and this. And my mum, I just didn't want to. My brain wanted to do Sunday morning. I could just go back to bed with a book and get up when I felt like it. And it wasn't. And it was like I was quite distressed. I don't know if I could. But I was a little bit nervous about taking it. I'll really take it. Because the alternative's not great. So I might as well just take that. I think I might just do 3 today because this is going to be an extended one. We'll see. So I thought I'll take it. I'll go with it. And that's just the way it is. I mean, like, I've been on my mind just to go to therapy and problems that we've had. At the same time, I'm like, I should probably be in therapy because I NHS, you get six sessions of talking therapy, and that doesn't solve your problems. It's like whatever. But yeah, I mean, like I'm about halfway through chapter 9 of my novel, which is great. I'm eager to work on that one. Actually, really eager to finish chapter 9, if I'm honest. Because it's emotionally intense, and I don't need that. So I never planned on writing today because this is literally my writing time right now. Because by the time I finish this, I'm gonna go wash my hair because I have to shower during the day. There's not really time with the kids. So I'll be doing that, and then I've got to have lunch. I'm do some power washing therapy after my partner goes back to work. Do some maths practice. Maths stuff I like doing. I need a textbook or something to explain the concepts because I'm gonna hit the limits of my knowledge. I mean, I had to refresh myself about different types of angles, and it just goes to show like how much you forget. Like your brain will just say, "Oh, you don't need to know choose angles anymore because you're not using it in your day-to-day life." Like units of measurement, trying going over like how many centimeters in a meter, how many milliliters in a liter. I just go look at the measuring jug in the kitchen, but it's surprising how much knowledge I just took for granted when I was a child. Like if you asked me 40 years ago about units of measurement, I could have rounded them off. Like my home phone number, the landline number, and it's funny because I still remember my old phone number from when I lived with like my childhood, or like my nurse to remember my landline number from the house I'm currently in. We do have a landline anymore. Very few people do these days, I think. The one number that I do actually is my grandparents' phone number. They passed away, gosh, 17 years ago this year, and I still remember their phone number because I used to call it all the time. I remember their address, I remember the postcode, all of it, and it's so strange. I couldn't tell you my old number from my mum's. My mum used to change the number of it. So my dad couldn't. Stephen, I was supposed to give him the number, but that's a whole other drama dump. It's a drama dump. But yeah, it's funny because you remember being knowledge, it's like I'm doing maths on Duolingo, and what irks me about it the most is it doesn't explain anything to you. I started doing that, as you know, because my eldest does it. Her cousin just quit. She married the weekend because it was too stressful having to do daily tasks. But what annoys me about it is not that. What annoys me is that it doesn't teach you anything. At least not mathematically speaking. I'm got to the point now where I'm doing things that I don't necessarily understand as to do with factors. Like least common and greatest common multiples. They don't tell you what it is. There's not even an infographic to say what a greatest common factor is. To give you an example, because that's all I really need is to explain to me in a couple of sentences what it is, what it means, and give me a few examples, and I'll learn it. But it doesn't. I think at best it's a good way to test your knowledge. But if you don't know, I mean, I can just Google it, that's not the point. If you don't know, it's not going to tell you. It's just guesswork at the end of the day. And I hate guesswork. I hate something imprecise. I don't mind getting something wrong as long as I know why it's wrong. And sometimes it does do that. It's like a little life to tell you these things. But it just doesn't. Or it doesn't explain it, or it'll tell you why you're wrong. It will explain to you what the concept behind it is. God. Anyway, that's and some stuff I thought you would do something about logic, right? And the first couple of units make sense. They'd be like at a level you could understand. And then you pick another unit and suddenly felt like you come from doing that in primary school maths to A-level maths, and I didn't do it. Barely passed GCSE maths, which irks me to this day. You lose so much that I was a serial procrastinator, and I was very heuristic. Like, oh God, I did it again, didn't I know? Like, I would do my homework the morning I was happening because I would just put stuff off and put stuff off and put stuff off. I now know that I couldn't help it. It was part of my neurodiversity. But that doesn't take away from what I lost. I'm not saying I would ever have gotten like an A-star in maths, but I probably could have done better than this survey. I would have probably been better spending lunchtimes in the school library studying. Actually, ever since then, I've been better off, but I don't know. Anyway, that's my part one. I want to prove something to myself and also because I have this bad insane dream that I can become a mathematician or a physicist or something in like middle age, and it's like, yeah, I need to let it be said that new rivals people don't for the skies and beyond. So we do. I have lots of wacky dreams and I know they're wacky, but some days they're all I am. And I know that people would say, well, you've got, like my father says, oh, you've got everything, you know, you're in a really privileged position, which I am, where I don't have to work. Like, because if I chose to, where I'm free for 6 hours a day to pursue whatever I want, and yet I'm not happy. And that sense of unhappiness probably does come from undiagnosed autism and ADHD. Because there's a restlessness in me. There's always this sense that there's something more out there, that there has to be more than just this. Yeah, it could just be ADHD, but I don't want to lose the restlessness I don't want to medicate my personality. Nor do I want to live like this. That is really tough. Okay, we are finished. I am, as ever, extremely grubby. It does not make a mess, but thank you so